Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, August 30, 2021, Monday. This is Janmashtami today in Bharat, India, birthday of Lord Krishna. Wish you all best all over world on this occasion of birth of Lord Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna. Enjoy this, celebrate this. People are fasting also. Wish you all best. My talk is COVID-19, safety, health, environment, civil field engineering, life quality, and extra title, and role of engineers in regard to COVID-19, SHE, engineers' role, designs, construction methods, contracts, organizations, communications, coordinations, why be behind quality of standard medicines works. Very, very important talk every day. I missed talk last time, tried 3 times. I could not do. Yesterday was very bad day. I don't know today what happens. These certificates for reference I am showing you. This chartered engineer certificate and also corporate membership of Institution of Engineers India, fellow FIE. I am fellow of Institution of Engineers India, civil branch, and also and by virtue of that I am chartered engineer also, chartered engineer India, and specifically professional engineer India. It's not only myself. Before this I passed engineering degree, and based on my experience and all that, my examination, professional examination, and also interview, I got qualified for these certifications. This certificate is valid for 5 years. That's professional engineer certificates, international professional certificate, India, and other certificate, chartered engineer certificates valid until you are corporate member. And this corporate member certificate, of course, it is statutory certificate. Provision under Royal Charter is made. That Royal Charter is granted to Institution of Engineers 1935. I'm just introducing you this because every day I show you this. But these certificates also require that you should be enough. You should have enough capacity to produce what is called quality system. Quality, every day I speak something about this. Again, I'm speaking quality is a requirement. It's not a facility. It's not something that you are giving an obligation. No, it's not. It's a must. No quality means nothing. No safety means nothing. No ergonomics means you are abusing your people. Try to understand what I'm saying. Quality is a must. It cannot be granted for nothing. Means you cannot take it for granted. Quality is quality. You have to give as an engineer, as a production company, as a manufacturer, as an industrialist, or as a service provider. It's your job to give quality, and if you can't give quality, you have no right to be in that business, that service. Safety, health, and environment is right of every worker, including top worker, including CEO. I consider CEO also as a worker, and that honor of industry also as a worker. You are only worker. So you have to take care of your workers. You have to respect them. You have to keep their health, themselves safe as far as health is concerned. You have to keep them safe as far as work activities are concerned. And you have to keep, as to an extent feasible, environment of working in your industry or in your factory feasible, amenable, tenable. And ergonomics says that you have to tell them what is best way of doing work, where they should not be subject to unnecessary or undue force, undue fatigue, because after all, rest is required, rest pause is required. Body cannot be subject to inadequate actions, unrequired actions, redundant actions. Every engineer in production, manufacturing, and construction is responsible to understand, to know about quality and apply that in field, to know about safety and apply that in field, to know about health and apply that in field, so that your workers are good enough in health. And of course, environment should be friendly, should be pleasing, should be enjoyable, so that you don't feel undue stress or strain. Quality, safety, health, environment, ergonomics are connected together with work. And when these are connected to work, this means these are connected to profession of production, profession of engineering, industry, and whatever product you deliver, those products are related to your profession. You may be civil engineer, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, IT engineer, or whatever you are. There's no limit to that. Quality is a must, a must, a must. I can say SHE is a must, a must, a must, or safety first you can say. When it is first means it's a must. Quality cannot be ignored. Similarly, safety cannot be ignored. If we ignore safety, we ignore our health build up. If we ignore safety, we spoil our minds because environment won't allow us to work safely using our minds. Every worker has to use mind. Maybe its percentage of mind use depends. Your production, physical work, mind work, thinking work, quality work, workmanship, and you can say quality requirement to comply with quality. You have to keep a watch on work, though it is automated these days, but automation is not enough. Surveillance is required. Quality is quality. You can't deliver your material without quality. You can't deliver your product without quality. If you deliver your product with quality, you shall of course be pulled in future and you will have to answer. Therefore, quality is a must. Safety is first. Health is a requirement. Ergonomics is also a must as far as possible, because mind should be fresh, body should be fresh, and you should have friendly atmosphere. You should have constructive chemical atmosphere. I mean to say quality of air where you work. You should have good. You can say good management on air freshening. You cannot suffocate yourself. You cannot. No one can allow you to work in suffocated vicinity. So you can say environment, in room in which you work, or in hall in which you work, or in factory in which you work. Fresh air must be provided. Good ventilation should be there. If possible, AC. Okay, AC is fine, but it's not mandatory. You should have plenty of water to drink. You should have plenty of tea to drink. You should have plenty of circulation. And if there are some gases or something happening or created in your area, it should be given clear exhaust. Means there is nothing that cannot be done for keeping your body safe, because after all, body is body, it's natural, it's organic. So we must understand safety is not additional facility. It is a requirement. It's original requirement, basics requirement. Safety is good means health is good. Health is good means mind is good. Mind is good means environment is good. If your surrounding is good, your working team is good. You are given good facility. You have no stress in your mind as far as your body is concerned, because body is your wealth. Health is your wealth. Safety is your room to keep your health good. And quality can be achieved only when material is good and SHE is good. We understand this point. Quality, SHE, ergonomics. Ergonomics is that science which tells you which way we have to decide, in which pose we have to work. Even if you sit in chair or work on computer, what's best you can say, what's best procedure you should suit, what's best pose you should sit, what angle your eyes should be on your monitor, how your legs should be there, what happens to your knees, what angle you should sit. Means all these are given in science of ergonomics as far as office work is concerned, and also as far as the workshop is concerned, or your construction site is concerned, or how to handle loadings. Means whatever is best way we have to do. I can't explain everything. You can refer to ergonomics. I have put many videos on that, or you can refer to some ergonomic science and you can understand what's best for your body energy. I don't say that you should use minimum energy or maximum energy. Whatever is required on an optimal basis, we should use that. Therefore, I demand quality, I demand safety, health and environment for everybody. It's not my demand actually, this is basic demand, but I say I means I on behalf of you. And you should not forget that quality is required everywhere. Everywhere it's required. And in every activity in life it's required. In engineering is required, in non-engineering is required, wherever it's required is required. We have lost safety standards because of ignorance, because of not caring about what's required. We do not concentrate on safety, We do not concentrate on health. We concentrate on health only when we get sick. If we take precautionary measures, if we take loss preventive measures, and we keep our environment friendly, we can say we won't be sick. Our workers should be healthy. Every worker should be healthy. Every engineer should be healthy. Every supervising staff should be healthy. And environment should be healthy. Only then we can say, without tension, without stress, without strain, we can work with free mind, and we can comply with requirements, and that compliance to requirements on whatever work we do, that amounts to, you can say, delivery of quality product. Quality is a requirement. It's a mandatory requirement, and if you don't fulfill this, your product is substandard, I can say. Maybe people don't identify in first go, but later on they will repent that you got product from this organization and this organization is not professional. They will later on think like that. Quality requirement is everywhere and in every activity in life, and also in engineering and also in non-engineering. SHE required everywhere during manufacturing and in construction, and also during rise of product. Now I'll jump directly to some practices, safe practices. Now what safe practices to think of? As I said before, safe practice is a must because safety is a must. These instructions are to be complied with or followed by all. It may be contractor, by vendor, by subcontractor, or personal, whoever there are. Everybody has a duty to comply with safety requirements. Purpose is to identify, you can say, what safety I mean to say, to identify minimum requirements for environmental safety and health practices. That is minimum one we have to take care of. For assessment of requirements for safe work, practice on all areas of project, including all disciplines. Safety, health and environment may necessitate varying arrangements to carry out construction works safely, which provisions should be known prior to taking of activity. When we start some activity, we should know what we have to do. Everybody knows actually. In field, when we work in factory or in industry, it's well defined. In factories and industry, because mechanical engineers work and they work indoors, they rarely go outdoor except in area of factory or industry. They rarely go outside and work in public. They work in constrained atmosphere, indoors, and machines are orientations of their work. Manual work is very little as far as mechanical industry is concerned. Generally they work by machines, they work using heavy machines also, but particularly medium class machines they use, production machines they use, process machines they use, and safety is defined there because they are under control all time. So that you can say, I don't think that it's very difficult in profession of mechanical production. Safety is defined and it has to be complied with. Same applies to electrical also, because electrical is different one. It's shocking profession. A shock is very common. Loose cables are very common. Everything is very common, which can lead us to safety accidents. Safety related accidents means if cable is used, if there is no control on voltage, there is no control on something, on earthing, people are not very clear about that. It can lead to fire or whatever you can say. Electrical itself is very, very difficult to understand. Electrical organization, electrical engineers must know safety requirements. Every electrician knows it, but knowing is not enough. Keeping in mind all time is important. People know everything, but they forget it. At time of work, they ignore it because of shortage of time or because of shortage of whatever you can say. Sometimes you have to spend money and they don't care about that. So what I say, for assessment of requirements for safe work, practices in all areas in project, including all disciplines, whatever disciplines you are working on, electrical, mechanical, civil, agriculture, whatsoever. Safety, health and environment may necessitate varying arrangements to carry out construction works safely, which provision should be known prior to taking of activity. Don't do work if you are not sure of safety. Don't do work if you are not sure of quality. Both are important. Definitions are safety definitions, safety, health and environment disciplines to support project activities. Company means, contractor means, subcontractor, all you know this. This not means you have to repeat all time. and I think we should actually think of PPEs, protective is our personal protective equipment, and also we have to think of material safety data sheet, that is, you can say, from manufacturer of material who supplies, and that manufacturer also delivers material safety data sheet, or it can be seen on websites of that company. Material safety data sheets gives a technical, gives a technological, gives us its technical requirement, how it is produced, what are components in that, what are chemicals in that, or what is the raw material in that, what is safety procedure, what should be done before use, how it should be opened or something like that, what precautions should be taken, and what is its specification, means whatever we can say applicable to that material's operation or use of processing. That material safety data sheets provide us everything regarding temperature, regarding means atmosphere, what to do, how to handle this material, how to mix this material, how to apply this material, and then how to add and cure this material. Rollover protective structure, that is ROPS, rollover protective structure. And then confined space, you know very well what is confined space. I will just repeat for your refreshing. Confined space is that one where access or egress is limited, where oxygen deficiency may occur, or where toxic substances or other hazards may accumulate. In a restricted work area, confined spaces include tanks, vessels, hoppers, bins, tank cars, steam boilers, conveyor tunnels, coal bunkers, sumps, ducts, scrubbers, manholes, sewers, etc., etc. There's no limit. Means where access is not available to everyone, only particular access, and that is full of risks. As I said, oxygen deficiency or some other deficiency, or where toxic substances are available, or other hazards related substances are accumulated there, and we do not know about that, and you can say that is restricted work area. So these are called confined spaces, and examples are given here: vessels and tanks. In tanks you cannot go, this is restricted, only for maintenance purpose you have to go. Vessels also same, means vessels available on plants, facilities, and hoppers, also material bins, storage bins, and tank cars, and you can say boilers, steam boilers. How can you go there? Conveyor tunnels, coal bunkers, means like that. Sumps where water is there, ducts, scrubbers, like that. For responsibilities in general or certain positions, project manager, site safety officer, construction leader, project site engineer, site safety, all these are there, and these are repetitive. Their responsibilities are same as we discussed before. Everybody has a responsibility, and I don't waste time in that. And then there are in this orientation training is required. You can say what instructions should be given. Orientation training: when you join some project, you must have conducive training for purpose of starting that project. You know that already on other project, but it's a procedure on every project. You are imparted with orientation training, and that's called safety training. There's a chapter already we have. I just refer to that. Emergencies and evacuation, and that also is available in another chapter. Incident reporting is very important. If something happens site adversely, so what happens is occurrences which results in property damage, injury, or near miss. Events that have potential for injury or property damage shall promptly be reported to supervisor and HSE leader, followed by report compiled with. And vehicle operations training is also very important. Means vehicle is not easy to operate. People think it's too easy to operate, but they don't know controls. They only know just use of steering and brakes and accelerators, but they don't understand various controls, for which vehicle operation training is very important. Licensed and authorized drivers only shall operate motor vehicles. All posted informed, warned speed limits and other traffic signs shall be strictly observed. Where weather or other conditions dictate, additional precautions must be taken. Seat belts shall be worn at all times with no excuse. You can't say, no, I can't be because it annoys me. Employees are prohibited from riding on loads, fenders, running boards, side boards, tailgates, and in back of pickup trucks. All vehicles in use shall be checked at beginning of each shift to ensure that all parts, equipment and accessories that affect safe operations are in proper operating conditions and free from whatever defects expected. Means every vehicle must be checked before starting shift every day. Employees shall be instructed not to operate any unsafe vehicle. Better not to operate. It's a must, it's a mandate that you should check it and then operate it functional. Operators, drivers shall report unsafe vehicles to their supervisors. All defects shall be corrected before vehicle is put up in use or in service. Unattended vehicle must not be left with their engines running. Don't leave vehicles when its engine runs. Put off vehicle, put off engine, only then you come out of that. Drivers must not move vehicles until passengers have well seated. Make sure everybody is seated before starting driving and complied with all safety practices. Do not leave anybody on its own. Take care of everyone. That is professional, or you can say trained driver job. Drivers shall not use any motor vehicle or earth moving or compacting equipment which is called heavy equipment when they have an obstructed view to rear unless vehicle has a reverse signal, alarm distinguishable from surrounding noise level, or vehicle is backed up only when an observer or banks person signals that it is safe so to do. Whenever heavy machinery, equipment, vehicles or part thereof are either suspended or held aloft, employees shall not be permitted to work under or between them unless vehicle is on jacks, stands or timber blocks. Conduct. Now for refer to such disciplinary enforcement and visitors. Now important point is visitor because visitors keep on coming to sites, to factories, to industries. Visitors shall be issued a pair of safety glasses, hard hat and or other appropriate personal protective equipment prior to entering safety controlled construction work area. Safety controlled construction work area where it's written safety area or PPE's area, or you can say hard hat area. You may find all this written. When it says hard hat means safety is required, PPE is required, personal protective equipment are required. Persons escorting or allowing a visitor onto project or facility are responsible to see that visitor wears required PPEs. Personal protective equipment, we call it PPE always. Refer to procedures, you will find personal protective equipment details. Dress requirements. Dress is of course very significant part of our wearings. All personnel are required to wear clothing appropriate for work being performed. Personnel on site shall not wear shorts. Shorts means half pants, not allowed. Loose clothing is not allowed. You can't expose your legs to work. Personnel on site shall not wear shorts, you must have full pant. Persons working near moving machinery must wear suitable clothing that prevents contact with moving components. Your clothes should not be loose, just like you see many people. Even on remote construction sites, people use very bad clothing. Persons working near moving machinery or operating machinery must wear suitable clothing that prevents contact with moving components. Clothing soaked with grease, paint, thinners, solvents or similar materials shall not be worn. Safety boots shall be worn all times on work site, whatever it may be. And fall protection, you refer to working at heights. Now barriers. Supervisors are responsible for erection and maintenance of barriers required for employee protection. Boundaries around equipment or materials to protect from potential damage and for traffic control. Barrier tape shall be used for its intended purpose according to approved methods. Barrier tapes shall be used for its intended purpose according to approved methods. Upon completion of work being performed, installing supervisor must remove tape upon completion of work. Unauthorized persons trying to enter barrier provided area shall be subject to resortion of disciplinary action up to including dismissal from site if that person works there. Signs and tags. Contractor and subcontractor, leaders, supervisors shall be responsible for ensuring that signs relative to warnings, precautions, notices, and other information pertinent to personal road access, ways, and closures are provided in pictorial or multilingual format. Subcontractors are responsible for displaying signs relative to their scope of work, that is, signs required at a compression, gas cylinder storage area, fuel loading area, etc. etc. Scaffolds and platforms refer to scaffolding, radios and electronic equipment, radio, CD players, cassette tape players, and other personal equipment are prohibited from work site. In particular, these days, mobile people make use of, they play with smartphones. These are not allowed during work. It's a very serious issue. People are working at height, you see they work at height and use mobile. There's risk to fall, even if you are using lifeline. It's very dangerous. I don't accept this. If I work on site, I pull mobile from people, put with me in my office, and when the person comes, I give it, because this is not permissible. They concentrate on videos, they concentrate on work, and that's also very dangerous, because diversion from work is very bad. It can lead, first of all, to accidents. Secondly, it's a question of quality. Work in operating plant and battery powered equipment is prohibited. Work in operating plant and battery powered equipment is prohibited unless approved for use in hazardous areas, and written permission must be obtained from operating authority. Floor, roof, wall, and platform openings. Proper precautions must be taken to ensure that floors, roof, wall, platform openings are guarded or covered and marked to warn personal potential hazards. This includes installing temporary handrails, midrails, toe board, screening, planking, and walkways, as well as providing safe access ways from established guarded or protected areas to unprotected or unguarded areas. Radiography, safety of radiography, refer to that one. Hazardous waste material, environment controls, refer to that one. Confined space procedure, confined space entry, refer to that one. Lockout and tag out procedure. A tag out procedure shall be put in place prior to commissioning activities to preclude inadvertent operation of equipment such as motors, valves, pumps, or rotating equipment, or release of energy such as electrical, pneumatic, thermal, chemical, or stored potential energy. Housekeeping refer to housekeeping, hand, air, electrical tools. Employees shall report damaged and defective tools to their supervisors or return them to tool room for proper tagging and repair. Damaged or defective tools shall be taken out of service, tagged, do not operate, and stored in a control area until appropriate repairs have been effected. Tools shall not be altered in any way and shall be operated in accordance with manufacturer's instructions or specifications. Tools such as saws and grinders shall have guards in place during their operation. All power drills shall have their anti-twist handles fitted. Persons who operate earth compactors, rollers, chisel, impact hammers, and other such tools shall wear appropriate PPE, personal protective equipment. Tools shall not be abused and would be kept in good operating condition. Tools shall be inspected prior to each use for defects such as cracked handles, damaged cutting edges, splitting or cracked parts, and broken adjusting components. Damaged tools shall not be used. Tools shall be used only for their intended purpose. Electrically powered tools shall be double insulated or earthed. Use of non-sparking tools shall be specified in work authorization permit. Non-sparking tools, remember, not sparking tools, but use of non-sparking tools shall be specified in work authorization permits. Pressure of compressed air used for cleaning purposes must be low to prevent dust and debris from creating hazards. Compressed air shall not be used for cleaning or blowing dust from any part of body or from clothes. Airline hoses for tools and other equipment shall be secured together to prevent uncontrolled whipping in event hose couplings become separated while being under pressure. Temporary construction outlets used for 110 volts tools or others shall be protected by an assured earthing program. Portable grinders shall be provided with hood type guards with side enclosures that cover spindle and at least 50% of wheel. All wheels shall be inspected regularly for inspection of possible fracture. Bench grinders, I'll refer to just now after that. Bench grinders shall be equipped with deflector shields. Bench grinders shall be equipped with deflector shields and side cover guards. Tool rests shall have a maximum clearance of 3 mm between wheel and grinding stone. Air supply lines shall be protected from damage, inspected regularly and maintained in good condition. Tool retainers. Tool retainers shall be installed on portable tools which require them to be fitted. Hoses and hose connections used for connecting compressed air shall be designed for plant pressure and service. Cartridge operated tools. Employees who have been trained and certified shall only be allowed to operate cartridge operated tool. Tools shall be tested each day before loading to see that safety devices are in proper working order, condition. Method of testing shall be according to manufacturer's recommendation. Cartridge shall be stored in a safe place and a stock inventory maintained. Tool not in proper working order or that develops a defect during use shall be immediately removed from service and not used until properly repaired. Tools shall not be loaded until just prior to intended firing time. Neither loaded nor empty tools are to be pointed at any or whosoever employed. Hand shall be kept clear of open barrel and loaded tools shall not be left unattended. Fasteners shall not be driven into very hard or brittle material, including cast iron, glazed tile, surface hardened steel, glass block, livestock, face brick or hollow tile. Fasteners shall not be driven into very hard or brittle materials, including cast iron, glazed tile, surface hardened steel, glass block, light block, face bricks or hollow tile. Fasteners shall not be driven into thin or soft material unless a protective backing is in place to prevent it from passing right through and becoming a flying missile and an injury potential. No fastener shall be driven into a spalled area caused by an unsatisfactory fastening. Tools shall not be used in an explosive or inflammable atmosphere. All tools shall be used with correct required shield, guard or attachment recommended by manufacturer, and eye protection must be used. Welding and burning. Welding, cutting and burning. Welding, cutting or burning operations in areas classified hazardous require authorization. Welding, cutting or burning operations in areas classified hazardous required authorization. All cutting, welding or burning operations in confined spaces require a permit to work. All cutting, welding or burning operations in confined spaces require a permit to work. A suitable approved fire extinguisher shall be ready for instant use where welding is being performed. Screens, shield or other safeguards shall be provided for protection of personal equipment and materials exposed to sparks, slag, molten metal, falling objects or ultraviolet UV infrared IR radiations. Again I say, screen shields or other safeguards shall be provided for protection of personal equipment and materials exposed to sparks, slag, molten metal, falling objects, or ultraviolet infrared radiation. Welders shall wear approved eye and face protection. Persons assisting welder shall also wear protective glasses. Electric welding equipment, including cable, shall meet national standards. Electric welding leads should be kept off walking surface. Electric welding leads should be kept off walking surface in an elevated position. When elevated, they pose less danger to personnel and are less susceptible to damage by construction activities. Welding leads or cords that cross a pathway or roadway shall be protected from damage by underground burial or equally effective means. Welding leads or cords that cross a pathway or roadway shall be protected from damage by underground burial or equally effective means. Welding leads with broken insulation shall be taken out of service or repaired by electrical department. Earth leads can be repaired with tape provided safe current carrying capacity. Earth leads can be repaired with tape provided safe current carrying capacity is not compromised. Earth returns shall have proper clamps fitted and be located as close to work face as possible. Fume extraction equipment shall be used. Fume extraction equipment shall be used during welding in enclosed space of metals which produce hazardous fumes. Ladders refer to working at heights. Health and hygiene. Washing facilities shall be provided for employees using or handling materials, chemicals or other substances that could be harmful. Such facilities shall be located near work site and be used by employees. So it says washing facilities shall be provided for employees' use or handling materials, chemicals or other substances that could be harmful. Such facilities shall be located near work site and be used by employees. Toilets shall be provided for and used by construction personnel. Glass bottles are prohibited on site. Cranes and materials handling refer to lifting operations. Fire prevention and protection refer to fire protection. Photographic equipment. Photographic equipment shall only be used by personnel who are authorized and do in strict compliance with project policy. Repeat. Photographic equipment shall only be used by personnel who are authorized and do in strict compliance with project policy. Rigging refer to lifting operations. Then suspended personnel platform. Working refer to working at height. Articulating boom platform. Working at height refer to that one. Safety watch. For hot work in restricted areas, employees shall be given training as fire watchers to provide fire protection. It is for safety watch. For hot work in restricted areas, employees shall be given training to work as fire watchers to provide fire protection. Excavation and trenching. Excavation safety reference. Hazard communication refer to hazard control. Electrical equipment refer to temporary electrics. Then emergency flushing eyes and body. If employees are exposed to injurious corrosive materials, suitable facilities for quick drenching or flushing of eyes and body shall be provided within work area for immediate emergency use. Employees shall be instructed that flushing of eyes should last a minimum of 15 minutes. Repeat. Emergency flushing eyes and body. If employees are exposed to injurious corrosive materials, suitable facilities for quick drenching or flushing of eyes and body shall be provided within work area for immediate emergency use. Employees shall be instructed that flushing of ice should last minimum 15 minutes. Office safety general instruction suggested that furniture provided in offices should comply with provisions within ergonomic requirements, ergonomic science. Ergonomics should play a role there so that employees work proficiently. Walk, do not run in corridors, on stairs, and use handrails where provided. Do not stand in front of closed doors. They may open suddenly. Do not read correspondence or other material while walking. Stop or return to your desk. While concentrating on reading, you may become unaware of your surroundings and expose yourself to possible hazards. Do not push or crowd at lifts, entrances, exits, or on stairways. Be careful of swivel chairs. Do not slump back on them without testing your weight gradually. Watch for telephone and office machine cords, waste baskets, and other hazards which may cause tripping. Use even while charging mobile. Be careful. Use handles when closing files, desk drawers, and safe or wall doors. Keep file drawer and desk drawers and locked doors closed. When not in use, open only one file or desk drawer at a time. See that files are properly secured. Check check office furniture regularly for sharp edges, splinters, and loose casters or bolts. Keep sharp objectives in their proper place. Handle carefully. Do not adjust or clean power driven office machines when they are in operation. Do not adjust or clean power driven office machine when these machines work or is in operation. Do not attempt to make electrical repairs. Call a qualified electrician or person to do that. If smoking is permitted, use ashtrays. Obey no smoking signs. Do not discard cigarette ends in waste paper bins. They may cause fire. Do not stand on chairs for access purpose of anything. Hearing conservation and noise control. Engineering or administrative controls shall be used to protect employees against sound levels in excess of those shown in forcing table. Here, permissible noise exposures. Duration, say 8 hours, 85 decibel. That's all. Do not go more than that. Hour per day. Sound is this much. So, 8 hours working 85 decibels, 6 hours working 87 decibels, 4 hours working 90 decibel, 3 hours working 93 decibel, 2 hours working 97 decibel, 1 and 2 half hour working, 1.5 hour working 100 decibels, 1 hour working 103 decibels, half hour working 107 decibels, 1/4 or less 110 decibels. This is irrelevant. Engineering or administrative controls may fail. Engineering or administrative controls may fail to reduce sound levels within limits as shown in above table. Hearing protection shall be provided and used. Means if these controls fails, you have to keep some cotton or hearing protection into your ears for better comfort. Hearing protection shall be provided and used. In all cases where sound levels exceed values given above in this table, a continuing effective hearing conservation program shall be administered. Temporary heating and ventilation devices. Fresh air shall be supplied in sufficient quantities via air conditioners to maintain health and safety of workers in offices and other buildings. Environmental controls, refer to environmental controls. Laser. Only qualified employees shall be assigned to install, adjust, and operate laser equipment. Employees shall wear proper anti-laser eye protection when working in areas where exists certain potential exposure to direct or reflected laser light greater than 0.005 watts or 5 milliwatts. Beam shutters or caps shall be used or laser turned off when laser transmission is not actually required. When laser is left unattended for a substantial period of time, such as during lunch hour, overnight, or at change of shifts, lasers shall be turned off. Employees shall not be exposed to light intensities in excess of following: direct staring 1 microwatt per square centimeter, incidentals observing 1 milliwatt per square centimeter, that is incident observing, and that is direct staring is 1 microwatt per square centimeter, diffuse reflected light 2.5 watt per square centimeter. Employees shall not be exposed to microwave power densities in excess of 10 milliwatts per square centimeter. People just don't care about this. I have seen that they don't know what microwave is. What they keep on and they open door to take out hot material. That's not acceptable. That's not such justice. Put off light and then open it. Drinking water. An adequate supply of treated drinking water shall be provided in all areas of working. Potable drinking water containers shall be capable of being tightly closed and equipped with a tap. Using a common drinking cup is prohibited. You should have separate cup or wash it properly. Washing facilities. Adequate washing facilities shall be located near project work site. Lunchrooms. Employees shall not consume food or beverage in toilet facilities or in whatever area of work site. A covered receptacle of corrosion resistant or disposable material shall be provided in lunch areas for disposal of waste food. A covered receptacle of corrosion resistant or disposable material shall be provided in lunch areas for disposal of waste food. Toilets. Toilets shall be provided according to following requirements: 1 toilet seat and 1 urinal for every 40 workers. For 200 or more persons, 1 toilet seat and 1 urinal per 50 workers. Steel erection. Permanent floors gratings shall be installed as soon as practicable during erection of structure. In event, all openings shall be protected and where required, boarding done out with temporary floors. During skeleton steel erection, a tightly planked temporary floor shall be maintained within 2 stories or 9 meters, whichever is less, below and directly under that portion of each tier of beam on which work is being performed. During structural steel assembly, facilities shall be provided that ensure safety of people working at height, namely lifelines and safety harnesses, body harnesses, safety harnesses. When placing structural members, load shall not be released from hoisting line until member is secured by at least 2 bolts or equivalent at each connection and drawn up wrench tight. Concrete and masonry work. Loads shall not be placed on concrete structure or portion of a concrete structure unless an engineering supervisor determines based on information received from a consultant or project engineer about its sufficiency of strength developed. Project engineer to consult or consultant should be qualified in structural design to ensure that structure or portion of structure is capable of supporting loads. All protruding reinforced steel onto which employees could fall and would probably result in penetration of bars into personal body shall be guarded to eliminate hazard of impalement. It should be understood that little plastic caps commonly used to fix on rebar do not prevent impalement, but these are just meant to work temporarily for warning. No employee shall be permitted to work under concrete skips while being elevated or lowered into position. Wherever practicable, concrete skips shall be lifted into position by a clear route, which shall minimize risk of skip dropping onto employees. Formwork shall be designed, fabricated, erected, supported, braced and maintained so that it is capable of supporting all vertical and lateral loads that may reasonably be anticipated to be imposed applied to formwork. Forms and shores, except those used for slabs, on grade and slip forms shall not be removed until supervisor determines that concrete has gained sufficient strength to support its weight and superimposed loads. Such determination shall be based on compliance with one of following. Refer to provided specifications applicable to project, or concrete has been properly tested with an appropriate test method designed to indicate concrete compressive strength, and test results indicate that concrete has gained sufficient strength to support its weight and superimposed loads. All masonry walls more than 2.4 meter high shall be adequately braced to prevent overturning and collapse unless wall is adequately supported so that it shall not overturn or collapse. Bracing shall remain in place until permanent supporting elements of structure have been constructed. Lift slab operation shall be planned and carried out in accordance with a rigging study conducted or developed by a rigging engineer experienced in lift slab construction. Such plans and designs shall be implemented by project facility and include detailed instructions with sketches indicating prescribed method of erection. Jacking equipment shall be capable of supporting at least 2.5 times load being lifted during jacking operations, and equipment should not be overloaded. No employee except those essential to jacking operations shall be permitted to in building or structure while certain jacking operation ongoing, unless building structure has been reinforced sufficiently to ensure its integrity intact during erection. Saws and bands. All portions of band saw blade shall be enclosed or guarded, except for working portion of blade between bottom of guide rolls and table. Band saw wheel shall be fully encased. Saws portable circular. Portable power-driven circular saws shall be equipped with guards above and below base plate or shoe. Lower guard shall, number 1, cover saw to depth of teeth. Lower guard shall cover saw to depth of teeth, except for minimum arc required to allow proper retraction and contact with work. Automatically return to covering position when blade is removed from work. Saws radial. I will go through this saws and show you photographs. Saw radials. Radial saws shall have an upper guard that completely encloses upper half of saw blade. A device that shall automatically adjust to thickness of and remain in contact with material being cut shall guard sides of lower exposed portion of radial saws shall have an upper guard that completely encloses upper half of saw blade. A device that shall automatically adjust to thickness of and remain in contact with material being cut shall guard sides of lower exposed portion of blade. Radial saws used for ripping shall have non-kickback fingers or dogs. Radial saws shall be installed so that cutting head returns to starting position when released by operator. Saws, swings or sliding cutoff. All swing or sliding cutoff saws shall be provided with a hood that completely encloses upper half of saw. Limit stops shall be provided to prevent swing or sliding type cutoff saws from extending beyond front or back edges of table. Each swing or sliding cutoff saw shall be provided. Each swing or sliding cutoff saw shall be provided with an effective device to return saw automatically to back of table. When released at whatever point of its travel, inverted sawing of sliding cutoff saws shall be provided with a hood that covers part of saw that protrudes above top of table of material being cut. Saws tables. Circular table saws shall have a guard over portion of saw above table. Circular table saws shall have a riving knife spreader aligned with blade spaced not more than 12 mm behind large blade mounted in saw. This provision does not apply when grooving or rebating. Circular table saws used for ripping shall have non-kickback fingers or dogs. Feeder attachment shall have feed rolls or other moving parts covered or guarded so as to protect operator from hazardous points. Push sticks shall be provided for use on every circular saw table. Exits. Every building designed for human occupancy shall be provided with exits sufficient to permit a prompt escape of occupants in case of emergency. In hazardous areas or where employees may be endangered by blocking of some single means of egress due to fire or smoke, there shall be at least two means of egress remote from each other. Again I say, in hazardous areas or where employees may be endangered by blocking of some single means of egress due to fire or smoke, there shall be at least two means of egress remote from each other. Exits, way of approach and travel from exits shall be maintained so that they are unobstructed and accessible all times. All exits shall discharge directly to an open space that gives safe access to public way. Exit doors serving more than 50 people or at high hazard area shall swing in direction of exit travel. Readily visible, suitably illumined or illuminated exit signs shall mark exits. Exit signs shall be distinctive in color and provide contrast with surroundings. Word exit shall be of plainly legible letters not less than 150 mm height. Flagsmen or other appropriate traffic controls shall be provided if signs, signals and barriers do not provide necessary protection on or adjacent to road or street. Flagsmen shall be provided with and wear a red or orange high visibility or fluorescent warning garment while flagging. Trained personnel only shall perform this task. Forklift trucks, powered industrial trucks, forklift trucks and powered industrial trucks. Truck shall be taken out of service until it has been restored to safe operating condition. If at whatever time a powered industrial truck is found to be in requirement, need of repair, defective or in whatever way unsafe, high lift rider trucks shall be equipped with substantial overhead guards unless operating conditions do not permit use of these guards. Forklift trucks shall be equipped with vertical load backrest extensions when type of loads present a hazard to operators. Brakes of trucks shall be set and wheel chocks. Brakes of trucks shall be set and wheel chocks placed under rear wheels to prevent movement of trucks and trailers while loading or unloading. Trained and authorized operators only shall be permitted to operate a powered industrial truck. Method shall be devised to train operatives for safe operation of powered industrial trucks. Liquefied petroleum gas. Each system shall have containers, valves, connectors, manifold, valve assemblies and regulators of an approved type. Every container and vaporizer shall be provided with one or more approved safety relief valves or devices. Containers shall be placed upright or firm on firm foundations or otherwise firmly secured. All cylinders shall be equipped with an access flow valve to minimize flow of gas in event when fuel line becomes ruptured. Storage of liquefied petroleum gas within buildings is prohibited. Storage location shall have at least one approved portable fire extinguisher rated not less than 9 kg class B. Compressed gas cylinders. Compressed gas cylinders shall be used and stored in an upright position. Compressed gas cylinders shall be secured in place during use and storage. Cylinders shall be returned to main storage areas when empty with protective end caps fitted Oxygen cylinders shall be stored separately from fuel gas cylinders with a distance of 6 meters or firewall containment. If a key wrench is required, wrench should be in place on valve of acetylene bottles at all times during use. Cylinders shall be transported in an upright position. Cylinders shall not be hauled in equipment beds or truck beds on their side. Cylinders lifted from one elevation to another shall be lifted only in racks or containers designed for that purpose. Slings shall not be used to hoist cylinders. Valves of compressed gas cylinders shall be completely closed when not in use. Compressed gas cylinders shall not be transported with gauges attached. Gauges shall be removed from cylinders and protective caps installed during transportation and or when not in use. Cylinders shall not be kept in unventilated enclosures. Rollover protective structures ROPS. Rollover protective structures apply to following types of materials handling equipment. Rollover protective structures. All rubber tired self-propelled scrappers, rubber tired front end loaders, rubber tired dozers, wheel type agricultural and industrial tractors, crawler tractors, crawler type loaders and motor graders with or without attachments, etc. are used in construction work. This requirement doesn't apply to side book pipe laying tractors. Underground construction refer to extension safety and confined spaces. Now I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, you can read this if you wish. I'll be back in 5 minutes because my requirement. I'll be back and start some new photographs and new chapter. If video continues or else what to do, I don't know. So, gentlemen, what I was saying is that this official, this chapter of safe practices, theoretically, I have told you, but what actually happens is that I'll get you some information on this regarding radial arm, which is from Wikipedia. This photograph, if you can see, this is from Wikipedia. I was actually going through this last time when my video broke, and it is, you can say, your concept and technique of machine safeguarding. OSHA, this is also required. Radial arm saw, anti-kickback devices here, and this is blade, you can say. This is guard here, and this is your machine, functional machine. This is handle. So we can say you can use this, and it is written here, a radial arm saw. This is radial arm. Let me just, for your clear conception, let me show you like this. This is blade, and handle, guard. It's like that. So radial arm saw is cutting machine consisting of a circular saw mounted on a sliding horizontal arm. Invented by Raymond DeWalt in 1922. Raymond DeWalt. Radial arm saw was primary tool used for cutting long pieces of stock up to length until introduction of power meter saw in 1970. In addition to making length cuts, a radial arm saw may be configured with a dado blade to create cuts for dado, rabbit or half lap joints. In addition, some radial arm saw also allows blade to be turned parallel to back face. Now we go to origin. Well, I think I don't want to waste time in origin. Let's go to practical. I do practical. Says that it is here. We can say leave origin. I do not go. Okay, now before advent of this, in home shop, radial arm saw is an alternative. In home shop, radial arm saw is an alternative to table saw. Both machines can rip, cross-cut, do simple and compound mixtures, dado, mold or shape, make tenons, make open mortises, taper cut and rabbet. Radial arm saw requires less clearance or space in shop to, that is, radial arm saw requires less clearance or space in shop to handle long stock, since it only requires clearance on sides, whereas table saw needs clearance on sides in front and at back. Radial saw is perfectly effective backed up against a wall, whereas table saw needs to be placed in center of shop to give all around clearance. With some accessories, former can be used as shaper, a disc or drum sander, a grinder or surface planer, a router, a horizontal boring machine, and even as a power unit for a lathe. Whereas a table saw's secondary uses are limited to shaper and disc sander. Major shortcoming of most current radial arm saws for home use is that most radial arm saws that have been built after early 1960s are manufactured with stamped sheet metal parts and are machined to loose tolerances, hence they are not precise for doing accurate work without tuning. A high quality radial arm saw has such carefully machined track arms, ways and locking mechanism and a motor that runs very smoothly under no load conditions. Most of sound and vibration shall originate from whistling and imbalance of saw blade armor. It's good one to understand a comparison between saws. A comparison between saw, table saw and radial saw. Again I say, in home shop, radial arm saw is an alternative to table saw. Both machines can rip, cross cut, do simple and compound methods, die though, mold or shape, make cannons, make open mortises, taper cut and rabbet. Radial arm saw requires less clearance, which we are talking of, or space in shop to handle long stock, since it only requires clearance on sides, whereas a table saw needs clearance to sides, in front and at back. Radial saw is perfectly effective backed up against a wall, whereas table saw needs be placed in center of shop to give all around clearance. With some accessories, former can be used as shaper, a disc or a drum sander, a grinder or a surface planer, a router, a horizontal boring machine, and even as a power unit for lathe. Whereas a table saw's secondary uses are limited to shaper and disc sander. Major shortcoming of most current radial arm saws for home use is that most radial arm saws that have been built after early 1960s are manufactured with stamped sheet metal parts and are machined to lose the tolerances, hence they are not precise for doing accurate work without tuning. A high quality radial arm saw has carefully machined track arms, ways and locking mechanisms, and a motor that runs very smoothly. Under no load conditions, most of sound and vibration shall originate from whistling and imbalance of saw blade upon arbor. Saw tilts on all axes except vertical slope. Saw tilts on all axes except vertical slope. All points of rotations are not clear in photo. Well, if machining depth cuts, radial arm saw allows one to see progress. With wood clamped and using arm, not hand feeding, which is also possible. Cuts are better machined and require no jig setup. Advantages not widely needed, however, cutting full depth is less convenient as saw lowers into cutting table, often a wood table for that reason. Now, safety. Power saws can easily cut off fingers. First point, remember this. Power saws can easily cut off fingers. For furtherance, furthermore, a dull blade will grab lumber. Dull blade shall grab lumber with enough force. Lumber means piece of timber. A dull blade will grab lumber with enough force to kick it through a wall. A new blade has less tendency to grab but still requires proper feeding. Radial arm saws are safer with a blade. Radial arm saws are safer with a blade with a very low or negative hook angle to inhibit overly fast feed rate, binding and blade's tendency to try to climb material. Says Radial arm saws are safer with blade with a very low or negative hook angle to inhibit overly fast feed rate, binding, and blade's tendency to try to climb material. Also a 10-degree positive hook blade, with a triple chip profile works well on radial arm saw and can be considered a universal blade. If saw climbs with this blade, yoke roller bearings need be adjusted and tightened. Occupational Safety and Health Association requirements of United States. According to OSHA regulations, upper hood shall completely enclose upper portion of blade down to a point that include end of saw arbor. Upper hood shall be constructed in such a manner and of such material that protect operators from flying splinters, broken saw teeth, etc., and deflects the sawdust away from operator. What says? Upper hood shall completely enclose upper portion of blade down to a point that includes ends of saw arbor. Upper hood shall be considered in such a manner and of such material that it protects operator from flying splinters, broken saw teeth, etc., and deflects sawdust away from operator. Sides of lower exposed portion of blade shall be guarded to full diameter of blade by a device that automatically adjusts itself to thickness of stock and remain in contact with stock being cut to give maximum protection possible for operation being performed. Demise. By early 2000s, radial arm saw well into its demise. On the day 7 July 2010, radial arm saw in its last legs, means it's gone. Tom McKinney, managing editor of Fine Woodworking, opined that it was for these reasons. What were reasons that's gone? Because of direction of saw blade rotation, saw may tend to self-feed into work. A negative hook blade eliminates this issue as a firm grip on handle. Problem is mostly prevalent with dull saw blades. A radial arm saw is more expensive than a typical contractor type table saw and takes up same footprint on shop floor, yet isn't versatile. Power compound miter saws and especially sliding type have replaced radial arm saws for many woodworkers for miter cuts. Less convenient if cutting through lumber. Lowering saw for through cut tends to cut table and cost. So demise of radial saw can be observed in products for sale by tool retailers. So let us leave it. Industrial sees now references are these, so I'm not concerned with references. I'll just close it. You have seen what is this saw, and I'll go to another one. Now I'll go to this radial arm saw. Now I'll go to that is where is that radial arm saw, and it was saw table saw. Let us see saw table saw, and I'll close this. This no more required here. Now it is another one, and that is table saw. You can see this sketch here, not sketch actually, photograph it is, image. Cabinet table saw equipped for cutting large pieces of sheet stock in direction of wood grain, also known as ripping. It's that, and let us see how it works. A table saw, also known as saw bench. A table saw, also known as saw bench or bench saw, in England is a woodworking tool consisting of a circular saw blade mounted on an arbor that is driven by an electric motor, either directly by belt or by gears. Blade protrudes through top of table, which provides support for material, usually wood, being cut. In modern table saws, depth of cut is varied by moving blade up and down. Higher blade protrudes above table, deeper cut that is made in material. In some early table saws, blade and arbor were fixed and table was moved up and down to expose more or less of blade. Angle of cut is controlled by adjusting angle of blade. Some earlier saws angled table to control cut angles. Its names are saw bench, power tool, and these are manufacturers. And this is your saw. You can say this is an adjustable blade of a table saw cutting the wood. So we can say, let's go to next page here. General types of table saws are compact, bench top, job site, contractor, hybrid, cabinet, and sliding table saws. Bench top, let us say bench top, job site, contractor, hybrid, cabinet, and sliding table saws. Bench top table saws are lightweight and are designed to be placed on a table or other support for operation. This type of saw is most often used by homeowners. They almost always have a direct drive, blade driven directly by motor. Universal motor. Some early models used small induction motors which weren't very powerful, made saw heavy and caused a lot vibration. Most modern saws can be lifted by one person and carried to and from a particular location. These saws often have parts made of steel, aluminum and plastic and are designed to be compact and light. Bench top saws are least expensive and least capable of table saws. However, they can offer adequate ripping capacity and precision for most tasks. Universal motor is not as durable as an induction motor, but it offers more power relative to its size and weight. Top of bench top table saw is narrower than those of contractors and cabinet saws. So width of stock that can be ripped is reduced. Another restriction results from top being smaller from front of table to rear. This results in a shorter rip fence, which makes it harder to make a clean, straight cut when ripping. Also, there is less distance from front edge of tabletop to blade, which makes cross-cutting stock using a mither more difficult. Mither and or stock may not be fully supported by table in front of blade. Bench top saws are smallest type of saw, table saw, and have least mass, potentially resulting in increased vibration during a cut. Nowadays, these models are being phased out for more practical job site model saws. Now, job site model saws. Job site table saws are slightly larger than bench top models and usually are placed on a folding or stationary stand. During operation, these saws are mostly used by carpenters, contractors, and tradespersons on job site. Many of these saws are more expensive than bench top saws. Most saws in this category have small but powerful 15 ampere universal motors. Many higher end saws have gear driven motors. Most of these saws are relatively light and can be easily transported to a job location. Many of these saws are built more ruggedly and are generally more accurate than entry-level bench top models. Motors, gears, and cases are generally designed to better withstand abuse of construction sites. When compared to benchmark saws, many job sites models have 3/4 inch or 19 meter slots, better fences, better overall alignment, sliding extension tables, large rip capacity and folding stands with wheels. Compact. Compact table saws are much larger than portable saws and sit on a stationary stand. Motor is still a universal type, however, theirs are usually driven by small toothed valves. Some saws have cast iron stops and are similar to in the appearance to larger contractor saws. Although tables are usually smaller and built of lighter construction, some models even feature sliding meter tables with a built-in metal sled that could be tilted to many different angles. Contractor table saw, also sometimes referred to as open stand saws, are heavier, larger saws that are attached to a stand or base, often with wheels. On these saws, motor usually 1 to 2 HP, 0.75 to 1.49 kilowatts, 1 to 2 HP, 0.75 to 1.49 kilowatt induction type motor, hinges off rear of saw on a pivoting bracket, although direct drive motor have existed, and drives blade with one or rarely two rubber V-belts. This is type often used by hobbyists and homeowners because standard electric circuits provide adequate power to run them, and because of their generally low cost when compared to larger saws. Because motor hangs off rear of saw, dust collection is usually problematic or even ineffective. Contractor saws were originally designed to be somewhat portable, often having wheels, and were frequently brought to job sites before invention of small bench top models in early 80s. Contractor saws are heavier than bench top saws but are still lightweight when compared to cabinet saws. Their large size and greater power allows them to be used for larger projects and allows them to be more durable, accurate and long lasting than bench top saws. Cabinet table saws are heavy, using large amounts of cast iron and steel to minimize vibration and increase accuracy. A cabinet saw is characterized by having an enclosed base. A cabinet saw usually have induction motors in 3 to 5 HP, 2.2 to 3.7 kW range, single phase but motors in 5 to 7.5 HP range. Three phase are commonly in commercial industrial sites. For home use, this type of motor typically requires that a heavy duty circuit be installed. Motor is enclosed within cabinet and drives blade with one or more parallel V-belts. Often A belts may be ganged without having to be specially selected. Otherwise, specially selected sets of light duty 4L belts are used. Cabinet saws often offer following advantages over contractor saws: heavier construction for lower vibration and increased durability, a cabinet mounted trunnion mechanism that incorporates saw blade mount and allows for height and tilt adjustments, improved dust collection due to totally enclosed cabinet and common incorporation of dust collection port. Cabinet saws are designed for and are capable of very high duty cycles, such as are encountered in commercial industrial applications, where some advantages of cabinet saw are desired in home shop applications. So-called hybrid saws have emerged to address this need. Cabinet saws have an easy replaceable insert around blade in tabletop, allowing use of zero clearance inserts, which greatly reduces tear out on bottom of workpiece. It's common for this type of saw to be equipped with table extension that increases ripping capacity. It's common for this type of saw to be equipped with a table extension that increases ripping capacity for sheet sheet goes to 50 inches or 1.3 meters. These saws are characterized by cast iron top on a full-length steel base, generally square in section, with various corners to 90 mm slots, 25 mm wide on larger saws are located parallel to blade, one to left of blade and one to right. American style cabinet saws generally follow model of Delta Unisaw, a design that has evolved since 1939. Saws of this general type are made in US, Canada, Taiwan and China. Most common types of rib fence mounted to this type of saw is characterized by standard model made by Bessemer, now a subsidiary of Delta. It has a sturdy steel T-type fence mounted to a steel rail at front of saw and replaceable laminate face. It has a sturdy steel T-type fence mounted to a steel rail at front of saw and replaceable laminate faces. American cabinet saws are normally designed to accept 21 mm stacked dado blade in addition to standard saw blade. Most common size of blade is 250 mm in diameter with a blade arbor diameter of 16 mm but 300 to 360 mm in diameter with a blade arbor diameter of 1 inches 25 mm are found in commercial industrial sites. American saws normally include an anti-kickback device that incorporates a splitter, toothed anti-kickback rolls and a clear plastic blade cover. Saw blade can tilt to either left side or right of saw, depending on model of saw. Original Delta Unisaw and earlier cabinet saws based on it are all right tilt units, while newer Delta saws, Unisaws and many competitive cabinet saws made 2000 after 2000 are left tilt saws. Change to left tilt was due to lower perceived propensity of cut piece to become trapped between rib fence and blade, and kickbacks was when blade tilts away from rib fence left tilt saw versus towards rib fence right tilt saw. While conceptually simple in design, these saws are highly evolved and are capable of efficient high volume precision work. Hybrid. Hybrid table saws are designed to compete in market. Hybrid table saws are designed to compete in market with high-end contractor table saws. These offer some of advantages of cabinet saws at lower price than traditional cabinet saws. Hybrid saws in market today offer an enclosed cabinet to help improve dust collection. Cabinet can either be similar to cabinet saw with a full enclosure from tabletop to floor or shorter cabinet on legs. Some hybrid saws have cabinet mounted trunnions and some have table mounted trunnions. In general, cabinet mounted trunnions are easier to adjust than table mounted trunnions. Hybrid saws tend to be heavier than contractor saws and lighter than cabinet saws. Some hybrid saws offer a sliding table as an option to improve cross-cutting capability. Hybrid saw drive mechanisms vary more than contractor saws and cabinet saws. Drive mechanisms can be single V-belt, a serpentine belt, or multiple V-belts. Hybrid saws have one 0.5 to 2 HP motor, and thus ability to run on standard 15 to 20 ampere 120 volt North American household circuit, while a cabinet saw 3 HP or larger motor requires 240 volt supply. Mini and micro. This is 25 micro table saw. Mini and micro table saws have a blade diameter of 100 mm and under 100 mm and under. Mini table saws are typically 100 mm or 4 inches, while micro table saws are less than 100 mm. Although naming of saw is not well defined, mini and micro table saws are generally used by hobbyists and model builders. Although mini table saw 100 mm have gained some popularity with building contractors that need only a small saw to cut small pieces such as wood trim. Being a fraction of size and weight of a normal table saw, they are much easier to carry and transport. Then you can say after that, being much smaller than normal table saw, these are substantially safer to use when cutting very small pieces, using blades that have a smaller kerf cutting width. Kerf is cutting width, KERF. Then normal blades, there is less material lost and possibility of kickback is reduced as well. Sliding. A sliding table saw, also called European cabinet saw, a panel saw, is a variation on traditional cabinet saw. They are generally used to cut large panels and sheet goods such as plywood or MDF. Sliding table saws have a sliding table on left side of blade, usually attached to folding arm mounted under table, that is used for cross cutting and ripping larger materials. Sliding table saws are largest type of table saws and are mostly used by large production cabinet shops. Most saws use 3 to 5 or even 7 HP 3-phase induction motors. Sliding table saws usually incorporate a riving knife to prevent kickback from occurring. Sliding saws sometimes offer a scoring blade, which is a second smaller diameter blade mounted in front of regular saw blade. Scoring blade helps reduce splintering lower face in certain types of stock, especially laminated stock. European models are sometimes available in multi-purpose tool configurations. Combination machine that offer jointer, planer, shaper, spindle, molder, in-drop or boring features. Blade arbor typically has a diameter of 30 mm, around twice that of US saw. Many Americans woodworkers are likely to use a dado stack or wobble dado to cut dados, square section grooves, while most European woodworkers would use a shaper or a router table for this task. Says in recent years, European style sliding table saws have had a small following in North America. They are usually either imported from European manufacturers such as Felder and its subsidiaries, Altador for Robeland, Taiwanese companies such as Grizzly Industrial, or sold directly by US based companies such as Powermatic. History, I'm not going into history. You can see European sliding table saw is very old than safety. Now safety table saws are especially dangerous tools because of operator holds material being cut. Table saws are especially dangerous tools because operator holds material being cut instead of saw. making it easy to accidentally move hands into spinning blade. When using other types of circular saws, material remains stationary as operator guides saw into material. But a push stick and protective cover over spinning saw can reduce chances of accidents. Kickback. Kickback is that term for when a piece of wood is ripped and either pinches the blade or turns outwards against the blade of a spinning saw. Is kickback. And is propelled back towards operator at a high speed. It's called kickback. Again I say kickback. Kickback is term when a piece of wood is ripped and either pinches in blade or turns outwards against the blade of spinning saw and is propelled back towards operator at a high speed. Two main injuries that can occur from kickback are caused by wood striking head, chest or torso of operator, or wood moving so quickly that operator's hands stay on wood and get pulled across saw blade. Dust extractor. Dust extractor. A dust extractor should be fitted if sawdust is prone to build up under cutting blade. Through friction, spinning blade quickly ignites accumulated dust and smoke can be mistaken for overheated blade. Extractor also reduces risk of dust explosion and facilitates a healthier working environment. So dust extractor should be fitted if sawdust is prone to build up under cutting blade. Through friction, spinning blade shall quickly ignite accumulated dust and smoke can be mistaken for an overheated blade. Extractor also reduces risk of dust explosion and facilitates a healthier working environment. Magnetic feeder board. Magnetic feeder board. Magnetic feeder board was developed in 1990. Patented grip tight is held to a cast iron tabletop or steel sub-fence by high strength permanent magnets. Advantage of magnetic feeder board. Feeder board is fast setup time on whatever cast iron tool deck or steel faced fence. When used in conjunction with steel faced trip fence, these are used to hold down ripped wood on whatever saw deck and prevent kickback. Feed wheels added to grip tight based pull ripped wood to fence, allowing operator to rip wood on whatever table saw with no hands near blade. Again, magnetic feeder board was developed in 90s. Patented grip tight is held to a cast iron tabletop or steel sub fence by high strength permanent magnets. Advantage being magnetic feeder board is fast setup time on whatever cast iron tool, deck or steel faced fence. When used in conjunction with steel faced rip fence, these are used to hold down ripped wood. On whatever saw deck and prevent kickback. These are used to hold down ripped wood on whatever saw deck and prevent kickback. Feed wheels added to grip tight base pull ripped wood to fence, allowing operator to rip wood on whatever table saw with no hands near blade. Meter slot feeder board. When a table saw has a tabletop made of material other than cast iron like aluminum A meter slot feather board should be utilized to keep pressure on stock against fence when otherwise your hand would be in dangerous proximity to saw blade. Keep in mind that this style feather board does take more time to set up than magnetic style when deciding on a tool purchase. If a safety device is more convenient, then it may be more frequently utilized. Never place a feather board past leading edge of blade or else kickback occur. Automatic braking. In recent years, new technologies has been developed which can dramatically reduce risk of serious injury caused by table saws. Consumer Products Safety Commission estimates that there are 67,000 table saw related injuries every year and 4,000 amputations. One new feature commercially available in saws since 2005 is an automatic braking system. Features inventor after trying to license it to manufacturers without success started saw stop. Based in Tualatin, Oregon, saw stop saws apply a small amount of electric current to blade. Means saw stops saws apply a small amount of electric current to blade of saw. This current is continuously monitored. If saw detects a change in this current, as would occur if a hand or other body part came into contact with blade, an automatic braking system is activated, forcing an aluminum brake block into blade. Saw stops within 5 milliseconds. Saw stops within 5 milliseconds and angular momentum retracts blade into table. Operator suffers a small nick instead of an amputation. Operator suffers a small nick instead of an amputation or other more serious injury. Following an activation incident, both blade and braking cartridge must be replaced. Automatic braking feature must be bypassed when cutting conductive material. Automatic braking feature must be bypassed when cutting conductive material such as wet timber. Saws containing this system are also advertised under names flash detecting technology and flash sensor technology. Blade height. Ideally, blade height of table saw should extend higher than board being cut by about a quarter of an inch or 7.5 mm. This lessens risk of kickback and other injuries and enables smooth cutting. What it says, there are two competing schools of thought when it comes to properly setting height of blade for sawing. There are two competing schools of thought when it comes to properly setting height of blade for sawing. First is commonly expressed thus: only allow blade to rise above work by amount of finger you wish to lose. I will only allow blade to rise above work by amount of finger you wish to lose. That is, blade should protrude above piece as little as possible to prevent loss of finger in case of sawing accident. There are two competing schools of thought. One, when it comes to properly setting height of blade for sawing. First is commonly expressed: only allow blade to rise above work by amount of finger you wish to lose. That is, blade should protrude above piece as little as possible to prevent loss of finger in case of sawing accident. And the competing view is that saw functions at its best when angle of blade teeth are relative to top surface of workpiece is as extreme as possible. This facilitates chip ejection. Chip ejection shortens overall distance through which teeth act on part, reduces power consumption and heat generation, substantially reduces peak pushing force required, thus improving control and causes blades force on wood to act mostly downward rather than largely horizontally. Material cut on table saws. Although majority of table saws are used for cutting wood, table saws can also be used for cutting sheet plastic, sheet aluminum and sheet brass. Accessories. Let me just 2 minutes please, I'll be back. Just a minute please. Let me see what time it is. So it's about 3 minutes. Outfit tables. Now we are talking of accessories. Outfit tables. Table saws are often used to rip long boards or sheets of plywood or other sheet materials. Use of an outfit table makes this process safer and easier. Many these are shop built, while others are commercially available. In-feed tables used to assist. This was outfit tables. As I said, table saws are often used to rip long boards or sheets of plywood or other sheet materials. Use of an outfit or outfit table makes this process safer and easier. Many of these are shop built while others are commercially available. This is called outfit tables. Then in-feed tables used to assist feeding long boards or sheets of plywood. In past, roller stands were pretty much only option, but there are now commercially available in-feed units that are more efficient and easier to use. Downdraft tables used to draw harmful dust particles that's downdraft tables, used to draw harmful dust particles away from user without obstructing user's movement or productivity. Rip fence. Table saws commonly have a fence guide running from front of table side nearest operator to back parallel to cutting plane of blade. Distance of fence from blade can be adjusted, which determines where on workpiece cut is made. Fence is commonly called a rip fence referring to its use in guiding workpiece during process of making a rip cut. Most table saws come standard with a rip fence, but some high-end saws are available without a fence, so a fence of user choice can be purchased separately. Feature feather board. Feather boards are used to keep wood against rip fence. They can be single spring or many springs as made from wood in many shops. They are held in place by high strength magnets, clamps, or expansion bars in meter slot. Hold down. Circular saw blades of a table saw shall pick up a piece of wood if not held down. Hold downs can be very vertical, hold downs can be a vertical version of feather boards attached to a fence with magnet or a more efficient magnet or clamps. Another type of hold down uses wheels on a spring loaded mechanism to push down on a workpiece as it is guided past blade. Subfence, a piece of wood clamped to rip fence allows a dado set to cut into rip fence, allowing rabbit cuts with a dado blade. Meter gauge. Table has one or two slots, grooves running from front to back, also parallel cutting plane or blade. These meter slots or meter grooves are used to position and guide either a meter gauge also known as cross-cut fence or cross-cut sled. Meter gauge is usually set to be at 90 degrees to plane of blades cut to cause cut made in workpiece to be made at right angle. Meter gauge can also be adjusted to cause cut to be made at a precisely control angle, so-called meter cut. Cross-cut sled. A cross-cut sled is generally used to hold workpiece at a fixed 90-degree angle. A cross-cut sled generally used to hold with workpiece at a fixed 90-degree angle to blade, allowing precise, repeatable cuts at most commonly used angle. Sled is normally guided by a runner fastened under it that slides in a meter slot. This device is normally shop made but can be purchased. Tenon jig. A tenon jig is a device that holds workpiece vertically so cuts can be made across ends. This allows tenons to be formed. Often this is a purchase item, but it can be shop made. Tenon jig is guided by a meter slot or a fence. Stack dado. Saws made for US market are generally capable of using a stacked dado blade set. This is a kit with two outer blades and a number of inner chip breakers that can be used to cut dados, which are grooves in workpiece. Grooves in workpiece of whatever width up to maximum, generally 13/16 of an inch. Stacked dado sets are available in 6, 8 and 10 inches diameter. 8 and 10 inches stacked dado sets are not recommended for saws with 1.5 or fewer HP. Although 10-inch stacked dado sets are available with 5/8 bore, these are recommended with 1-inch bore. Inserts. Table saws have a changeable insert. Table saws have a changeable inserts in table through which blade projects. Purchasable inserts are usually made out of metal. Zero clearance inserts can be made of sawable materials such as plastic or wood. When a zero clearance insert is initially inserted, blade is raised through a insert creating slot. This creates a slot with no gaps around blade. Zero clearance inserts helps prevent tear out by providing support for wood fibers right next to blade, thus helping to make a very clean cut. Other inserts can be bought or created in same manner such as dado inserts. A splitter. A splitter or riving knife. Riving knife is a vertical projection located behind saw blade. This can be a pin or a fin. It is slightly narrower in width than blade and located directly in line with blade. A splitter prevents material being cut from being rotated, thereby helping to prevent kickback. Splitters may incorporate pawls, a mechanism with teeth designed to bite into wood and preventing kickback. Splitters can take many forms, including being part of blade guard that comes standard with saw. Other type of splitter is simply a vertical pin or fin attached to an insert. Splitters are available commercially or can be made from wood, metal or plastic. Anti-kickback saws, anti-kickback pawls. Most modern table saws are fitted with kickback pawls, a set of small spring-loaded metal teeth on a free swinging pawl, usually attached to guard, which help put a strong downward force on board. This can help to immobilize board in event of a kickback. However, these have sometimes been found to be somewhat ineffective when compared to a splitter. Push stick, a handheld safety device used to safely maneuver a workpiece, keeping it flat against machine, table and fence while it is being cut. Now these are references which means is finished. So this page was last edited on 25th August 2021. So this is very new. 25th August, so very few days. Text is available under Creative Commons Attribution, share like. Okay, now I can close it now because I was able to see it further. You can see it further, no problem. If you wish to see it further, you can see it. I'll go to now. This is about this one. So then we were talking about this page. We have talked of all these pages. Also, I can say that safe practices. Now, safe practices issue. We can start. If I go there, I'll find another one. Let me go through this and see what's available there. In this record, in the science, in this you can see my directory, and here is HSC, which is procedures, safe data structures. This is HMS 30, chapter 30, and this is disciplinary enforcement. That's what I'm going to do is disciplinary enforcement. I can say. Now, disciplinary system. I'll take up this, I can say, safe practices later on also, because I have to explain many items in that which could not be explained otherwise, and that was, let me see if I can get something out of here. Scaffolding, assist construction, welding, hoisting, rigging, piping, pipe fittings. Radial arm saw, radiation basics, then radiography, retractable fall, inertia. Well, I don't know which in that, so we can say that it's here our point. That is in us talking in quality system actually this all, and we are talking of safety here, and SAP practices there. Now it's disciplinary system. What is that? That's very understandable point. Disciplinary system. So chapter 31 now. This procedure applies to all personnel working on contractor or EPC contractors projects, including employed subcontractors, you can say. This is for all. This procedure applies to all personnel working on EPC contractor projects, including employed subcontractors. Purpose of this procedure is to give guidance on actions that should be taken in event of safety and or security violations. Violation is very serious matter. Disciplinary measures stated are only for guidance. Every instance should be assessed on its own merit and actions taken commensurate with situation. Work rules list is not intended to be an inclusive but represents only basic site working rules. Other reasons for disciplinary action shall be considered for application by or under management's or organization's discretion. Now we go to certain definitions. Safety. All safety. Safety may safety, health and environment disciplines to support project activities. What is company, what is support, all is given here. No need going through that. Then you can say training. Training means training imparted for a specific safety topic on job, on project site. Then let us say there's nothing specific I should say. So let's go to S is that specific is that EPC contractor and subcontractors line supervision shall have following roles: monitor work site activities under control and remedy treat all you can say serious infractions in line with guidance established by this procedure, advise personnel under control of rules and regulations pertaining to this procedure, and that all disciplinary actions are justified and fair equitably. But it says here, ensure it constructor, site manager responsible for following requirements are those: ensuring that all levels of contractor site organizations are well aware of disciplinary procedures and its required effects, that all disciplinary actions are justified and fair, equitable. Let me start applying this procedure for 3 infractions by senior personnel on site. So, as again, monitor work site activities under control and remedy or treat all serious infractions in line with guidelines established by this procedure, advise personnel under control of rules and regulations pertaining to this procedure. Instructions. Now, following matrices provide self-explanatory templates for devising disciplinary actions to be complied on site. Reference should also be made to other ministerial decrees and existing EPC contractor regulation to ensure that labor laws and client policies are not being violated. Such disciplinary actions are indicative, subject to modification by relevant management. Now here is category wise, it is work rule, infraction, then first infraction, second infraction and third infraction. Violations you can say. Like this it is, let's see, category 1 it goes on, then it is category 2, then category 3. So it's like that, it's not very big deal, I can go through this. In category 1 it says Work rule infraction, I think this is unauthorized possession or theft of employer, subcontractor, or any or whoever employs property. Unauthorized possession or theft of employer, subcontractor, or whosoever employs property. First infraction means employee shall be terminated. Employee shall be terminated and not be eligible for rehire for currency of project and may be subject to legal prosecution. This is because of what? Because of theft of employer, subcontractor, or whoever employs property. Second infraction not applicable. Third infraction not applicable. Willful damage, sabotage, vandalism, or defacing employer or subcontractor's property, termination, others are not applicable. Work rule now, refusing to submit to employer or client and site security procedures. First infraction, a full investigation followed by appropriate action up to and including dismissal. A full investigation followed by appropriate action up to and including dismissal. Second infraction, if written warning given on first infraction, immediate dismissal and not eligible for rehire, and no third infraction. Possession, use or selling of narcotics, non-prescribed drugs and alcohol on employer's property, immediate dismissal and police referral. This is possession, use or selling of narcotics, non-prescribed drugs and alcohol on employer's property, immediate dismissal and police referral, and no other action. Possession of firearms, lethal weapons, ammunition or explosives on employer's controlled property, immediate disposal, no other action. Willful misuse of employer site security badges or other forms of identification. Written warning depending on circumstances and degree of severity and or deduction of 5 days pay. Written warning depending on circumstances and degree of severity and or deduction of 5 days pay. Second infraction is termination and then not applicable. So it is willful misuse of employees site security badges or other forms of identification. Written warning depending on circumstances and degree of severity and or deduction of 5 days pay, then termination later on. Willful violation of job sites safety rules, housekeeping, work rules, policies and procedures. Written warning and deduction of 2 days pay. Written warning and deduction of 2 days pay, that is for willful violation of job site safety rules, housekeeping, work rules, policies and compliance. So written warning and deduction of 2 days pay. Written warning and deduction of 5 days pay in second infraction, and then termination. Sleeping on job site during work hours. Written warning and deduction of 2 days pay. And second is written warning and deduction of 5 days pay, and thereafter termination. You can't sleep on job site during work hours. Gross insubordination. Written warning and deduction of 3 days pay, then dismissal in second infraction, and of course then after that not applicable. You can say fighting with gross insubordination, written warning and deduction of 3 days pay, then dismissal, and another. Fighting with or assaulting an employee on job site, dismissal. Don't fight with others, assault on employee's job site, dismissal, others not applicable. Willful negligence resulting in damage to operating plant services. Don't sabotage. This means willful negligence resulting in damage to operating plant services, dismissal directly. Category 2, that was category 1. Now category 2, refusal to accept work assignment unless for reasons of safety. A written warning and decision and reduction of 2 to 5 days pay. Second infraction is dismissal and then not applicable. Failure to work as directed. Written warning and reduction of 3 days pay. Dismissal in second instance. Then other one is absence for 3 days consecutive work is without proper notification. Absence for 3 days consecutive work days without proper notification. Written warning and deduction of all absent days. Dismissal then after that. Willful negligence resulting in safety, housekeeping, health, physics or security violations. Willful negligence resulting in safety, housekeeping, health, physics or security violations. A written warning and deduction of 1 to 3 days pay, and second infraction, dismissal. Leaving job site without proper authorization. Written warning and deduction of 3 to 5 days pay. Dismissal and second infraction, and then not applicable. An abusive language or verbal threats or intimidation of an employee. Written warning and 3 to 5 days pay reduction, then it's dismissal and second infraction. Insubordination, written warning and deduction of 1 to 3 days pay, written warning and deduction of 3 to 5 days pay in second one, and then third one, dismissal. Category 3. Category 3. Poor attendance, lateness, excessive tardiness and early quitting. Poor attendance, latecomers, excessive tardiness and early quitting. First one is a written warning and deduction of 1 to 3 days pay. Then second infraction, a written warning and deduction of 2 to 5 days pay, and in third infraction, dismissal. Engaging in horseplay, verbal warning, a written warning in second one and deduction of 1 to 3 days pay, and then in third infraction it is dismissal. Leaving workplace without supervisor's permission, a written warning and deduction of 1 day pay. A written warning and deduction of 2 to 5 days pay, that is second referral, second infraction, and in third is dismissal. Then cooking or heating of food. Except where designated. A written warning. In second one, a written warning and deduction of. In first one was a written warning and confiscation of cooking equipment. Second is a written warning and deduction of 2 to 5 days pay, and third is of course dismissal. There is cooking or heating of food except where designated. And then unsatisfactory work practice. Misuse of safety equipment and refusal to wear personal protective equipment. It's a written warning, the first one, and a written warning and reaction of 2 to 5 days in second one, and then whatever else. So we can say we have gone through this small page of disciplinary actions in these three categories. Now 31, let me go to 32. Safe work. Yeah, there's radial arm saw sharp and cable pulling. Okay, organization chart. It's not here actually. So we are here. Before we talked of safe practices. We talked of safe practices in last one. Now we are talking of safe work procedures. Standard safe work procedure. I think this one is small. Let me browse first where it is. Interesting, I think. Yeah. Yes, it looks interesting and well. What is this? It's 30, do you think? No, it's not possible like this. 32, what's that? So, in this we say, this is like that. Contents are terms used: introduction, personal protective equipment PPE, safety organization course and site access, SHE officer, supervisors and SHE officer's language, permit to work, risk assessments, method statements, pre-job discussions, working at heights, man riding baskets, safety harnesses, scaffolding, ladders, fire protection, hot work, welding, use of gas and oxygen equipment, compressed air, abrasive wheels, cartridge operated fixing tools, tools and equipment, mechanical plant and equipment, machinery guarding, noise, mobile cranes, lifting equipment, reporting of accidents, incidents, work in confined spaces, electricity, excavation and openings, control of substances hazardous to health, radiography, housekeeping and removal of materials, employer honor plant equipment and energy sources and transport, access, first aid, welfare, general restrictions, site notices, environment registers. once again, because there are so many inclusions in that. Maybe first is terminology, term used, then it is introduction, personal protective equipment PPE, safety orientation courses and site access, then SHE officer, supervisors and SHE officer language, permit to work, risk assessments, method statements, pre-job discussion, working at heights, man riding baskets, safety harnesses, scaffolding, ladders, fire protection, hard work general, welding, use of gas and oxygen equipment, compressed air, abrasive wheels, cartridge operated fixing tools, tools and equipment, mechanical plant and equipment, machinery guarding, noise, mobile cranes, lifting equipment, reporting of incident, accidents, work in confined spaces, electricity, excavations and openings, control of substances hazardous to health and radiography, housekeeping and removal of materials, employer, owner, plant, equipment and energy sources, transport, access, first aid, welfare, general restrictions, site notices, environment registers. Now, authorizations. Velocity of terms, definitions regarding certain safety. As we said before, safety means safety, health and environment, disciplines to support project activities. Company means an organization carrying out or prosecuting project. These are same, nothing much different here. And also certain contact positions, project, position, site, safety, construction, project, all same, we can say. An individual is a site foreman responsible for compliance of safety measures as standards or as directed. An individual working on site responsible to maintain safety measures, in case missing, should bring to site teams attention. These instructions are issued to EPC contractor, personnel carrying out work on project. They outline Introduction. These instructions are issued to EPC contractor personnel carrying out work on project. They outline health, safety and environmental rules and documents that are required to be followed when undertaking work. Instructions are produced for use of EPC contractor, organization management and supervisory staff who are required to ensure that rules and documents are brought to notice of EPC contractor, personnel, and that such rules and documents are strictly followed. If there is certain doubt or misunderstanding about contents of these documents, they should be taken up with EPC contractor, safety department. All special precautions or more detailed guidance on SHE procedures should be discussed with client safety staff or supervisors. Again I say, Instructions are produced for use of EPC contractor, management organization and supervisory staff who are required to ensure that rules and documents are brought to notice of EPC contractors, personnel, and that such rules and documents are strictly followed. If there is certain doubt or misunderstanding about contents of this document, they should be taken up with EPC contractor safety department. All special precautions or more detailed guidance on SHE procedures should be discussed with client safety staff or supervisors prior to commencement of work. Personal protective equipment. EPC contractor shall ensure that its employees and those of its lower tier subcontractors are provided with all necessary protective equipment and that their employees properly wear and store such equipment. EPC contractor shall ensure that personal protective equipment is properly maintained in good order and replaced at no charge when defective or lost on time is due. EPC contractor shall ensure that personal protective equipment is properly maintained in good order and replaced at no charge when defective or lost on time is due. All protective equipment shall conform to approved standard and shall be fit for intended purpose but should be comfortable in use. EPC contractor employees shall wear personal protective equipment. Required otherwise, disciplinary action shall be resorted to against employees not doing so, and where appropriate action may also be resorted to, line supervision for allowing workers work as such. Eye protection. Specialist eye protection for operations such as welding, burning, grinding, etc. shall meet BS, AS, DIN or ANSI EU standards, where full face visors or welding visors are supplied, shall be capable of being fitted to safety helmet. These visors, welding visors. Hearing protection shall consist of disposable earplugs, ear inserts, plugs or ear muffs which meet BS, DIN, AS or ANSI EU standards. Attenuation characteristics shall be sufficient to reduce noise level to below 85 decibels. Respiratory protection. Respiratory protection, that is to say, respiratory protection equipment shall be suitable for hazard presented by work scope, that is potential hazard, potential health problem which could arise. Disposable respirators for nuisance. Disposable respirators for nuisance thus shall comply with BS, DIN, AS or ANSI standards, which shall have a protection factor of at least 10. Respiratory protection equipment shall be suitable for hazard presented by work scope, that is potential as a health problem which could arise. Disposable respirators for nuisance dust shall comply with BS, DIN, AS or ANSI standards, which shall have a protection factor of at least 10. Safety footwear shall be to BS, DIN, AS or ANSI EU standards. Shall have steel toe caps inserted in boot, that is not on exterior of boot. If Wellington boots are required, they shall be to BS, DIN, AS or ANSI standards and would have steel toe caps inserted into boots. Gloves. Gloves, general purpose gloves shall be to BS, DIN, AS or ANSI EU standards, shall have canvas backs and leather hide palms. Safety harnesses, if required, shall comply with BS or ANSI EU standards, which be full harness. Inertia reels, if required, shall be to BS, DIN or ANSI EU standards. Overalls. Wearing of loose clothing or ropes on its side is not permitted. Within construction site, cotton or ply cotton overalls or a shirt or trousers shall be worn. Cotton or poly cotton overalls or a shirt or a trouser shall be worn. Should welding be necessary, welders shall be provided with fire retardant overalls. Other PPEs. All personal protective equipment shall be meeting to BS, DIN, AS or ANSI EU standards. Types of PPE issued shall be detailed in work method statement, a copy of which be given to client site safety manager. Basic personal protective equipment to be worn on by all site employees shall be safety helmet, safety footwear, overalls or shirt and trousers. All EPC contractor personnel shall be readily identifiable either by wearing their names, company's names or logo on their helmet or overalls. All EPC contractors' personnel shall be readily identifiable either by wearing their company's name or logo on their helmet or overalls. HSC orientation courses and site access. EPC contractors shall ensure that each of their employees attend HSC orientation induction course organized by site safety supervisor. EPC contractors shall ensure that all employees shall always carry following documents during period of work at site: valid work permit, original, applicable for migrant workers only, photocopy of driving permit, relevant to equipment or type of vehicle which may be allowed to drive on site. Health, safety and environment officers, safety officer, SHE officers shall be dedicated on site only on health, safety and environment duties. All visiting HSC or SHE officers shall report to site safety in charge or leader or manager. EPC contractors, HSC officer, SHE officer shall submit on a monthly basis to clients, HSC in charge or leader a detailed safety SHE report. Supervisors or supervised HSC officers language. EPC contractor, supervisor and HSC officers shall be fluent in English or whatever language is on contract. Permits to work. Permit to work. Explanation. Refer to client's permit to work procedures. A permit to work system is a safety document designed to protect personnel and plant. It is issued based on considerations of all technical requirements, their impacts on personnel, required safety compliance, essential on activity concerned, and a time limit indicated for its validity. It forms a clear record of all foreseeable hazards which have been considered in advance. Correct operations of system ensure that only one authority issues permit to allow personnel to work. Only authorized supervisors shall request and receive permits. All personnel are aware of safety measures required to be taken. All personnel are aware of safety measures required to be taken. Area affected by work is clearly defined. Period of time during which work may be carried out is clearly defined. Correct protective clothing, equipment provided and used. Responsible management organization is aware of work in progress. Arrangements. All EPC contractor contract project personnel shall comply with permit to work system operated by site. Should a permit to work be required for whatever aspect of contract, work on that particular operation shall not begin until such a permit has been issued with included terms and conditions of permit for compliance. Permits to work shall generally be required. Permits to work shall generally be required for following activities: entry into equipment or all confined spaces, temporary electrical works where electrical isolation documents apply, excavation below 1.2 meter in depth may be reduced to 0.6 meter in areas of non-buried services, use of man baskets, external interconnections, internal interconnections, all activities carried out within operating authority controlled areas. In addition to foregoing activities, permit shall be considered for whatever potentially hazardous activity where an extra degree of work control is felt to be appropriate. In live plant areas and during startup and commissioning activities, additional permits shall be required. Risk assessments. Risk assessment. EPC contractors shall produce risk assessments for all works under control. Risk assessments forms shall provide client written information on following: identification of all hazards applicable to significant risk activities, details of measures in place to control risk, justifications that existing control measures are adequate, and if not, detailed actions plan about how control risk, details of measures in place to control risk, justifications that existing control measures are adequate, and if not, detailed actions detailed actions plan about how control risk. Quantitative risk assessment, QRA. Method statement. I'll go to this one. After that I'll close, and because method statements are important and also we have to talk in common. Method statements. EPC contractor personnel shall submit method statements for all works where client site SHE manager or site construction manager or advisor leader considers risk from whatever activity to be significant. Work method statement shall detail job to be undertaken, individual activities required completing job, individual trades, disciplines involved in each activity, plant, equipment, tools to be used in each activity, substances, chemicals to be used and during which activity to be used, together with cost assessment, names of supervisors for each activity, name of person in overall charge of job, a detailed description of how work shall be done, including control measures and documents to complete each activity and overall job safety. Pre-job discussion. EPC contractor shall ensure that its supervision in direct charge of a job fully briefs and discusses, instructs with personnel carrying out job following issues prior to job commencement: nature of job, associated hazards, safe working methods to be adopted, requirements of permit to work. EPC contractor shall also ensure that all its employees are aware of requirements contained within these instructions. Working at heights. We will explain all this later on. I am just going to read what I have done. EPC contractor personnel shall not interfere with access arrangements, that is, namely scaffolding, ladders, etc. Where EPC contractor provides its own means of access, such arrangement shall be in accordance with all legal requirements and relevant site standards. Scaffolding shall only be erected are dismantled by suitably trained, qualified, and competent scaffolders. Work which results in openings being created where persons can fall through or removal of sides falling barriers where persons can fall from shall be effectively protected to prevent injury and have a detailed method statement, work permit and designated supervisor. Materials, equipment of plant shall be properly secured to prevent them falling from height. Where there is a danger of falling material, effective preventive steps, that is installation of solid barriers and warning notices, shall be provided to prevent access, warn people about hazards. Reference should be made to these instructions of covering scaffolding, man riding basket, safety harness, etc. Where appropriate, safety harnesses, lifelines and fall arresters shall be used where staging, scaffolding or other safe means of access is not practicable. Man riding basket. When carries of personnel by crane is required, man riding basket shall be suitably tested and have a current test certificate being clearly displayed man riding only. All wire ropes and other attached lifting equipment shall also have an updated test certificate. All cranes used for carrying personnel shall be provided with a dead man's handle facility to ensure that brake is applied when control lever is released. When says all cranes used for carrying personnel shall be provided with a dead man's handle facility to ensure that brake is applied when control lever is released. Crane hooks shall be fitted with safety catches or equivalent. An operator shall be seated in cab all times. At no time shall crane be allowed and used in free fall situation. Crane shall have power lowering capabilities for carrying men. Limit devices shall be fitted to crane to ensure that carrier cannot be raised above over highest limit of crane. Limit switch shall be tested daily before raising persons in basket. All employees using main riding basket shall be secured inside basket by a safety harness. Safety harness shall be secured to master link of supporting sling or back of crane. Men riding baskets may only be used when an appropriate work permit has been issued by authorized person and has been approved by EPC contractor, supervision, management organization. I'll not go further on this, but just talk of quality system here and say practice which we have gone through. We have gone through safe practices today. Safe practices, and this was quite interesting one. Also quality, as usual, we can say quality is essential in life. Nobody can deny that fact. And ergonomics is involved with that. You have to raise questions to yourself. Ergonomics is science that tells everyone about how to use available energies for doing work activities in best possible manner so that worker is least impacted upon by adverse actions. These requirements are certainly must. No way to respond to no. It says good SHE compliance applications, nothing can move in right direction about this. Safety, health, environment's very first consideration on every activity, on every project and on every operation supported by ergonomics. SHE claims that safety first. If safety is conducted, what happens? And if safety is ignored, what happens? No safety, no pain, and no safety, no pain. That's what we say. Quality has to be complied with defined requirements within ambit of work specifications. Quality ranges in elaborations depending on indicative descriptions, and there exists no unlimited scope of quality criteria to be carried out. No future if no quality persists, and its specified requirements must be met. Quality must. Engineers must realize quality facts, and in particular, civil engineers have to change quality aspect society. Quality cannot exist. Remember, systems quality to be devised and achieved. Broken system means broken life linked to broken system. Professionals, individual working capacity, quality to be amended from time to time. And that's what we are studying here, system of. It's kind of quality study of safety. So construction based on reasonable, coordinated, constructible qualities, designs plus SHE. SHE comes everywhere. So this is what we say time again. We used to refer to this file. That's very important one. And purpose of this talk today was about safety. And how many more chapters are left, I would like to say here. We had started with index, then we went to chapter 1, safety policy, chapter 2, management system, chapter 3, site security, chapter 4, hand tools, chapter 5, first aid regulations, chapter 6, permit to work, chapter 7, housekeeping, chapter 8, safety training, chapter 9, emergency and evacuation plan, chapter 10, fire protection, chapter 11, PPE, chapter 12, excavation safety, chapter 13, control, storage and use of hazardous materials, then chapter 14, incident reporting, and chapter 15 is lifting, rigging and hoisting, chapter 16 is radiography operations, chapter 17, night working, chapter 18 is scaffolds and ladders, chapter 19 is temporary electric supply, chapter 20 is welding and cutting, chapter 21 working at height and fall prevention, and chapter 22 abrasive wheels, chapter 23 construction environment control, chapter 24 hazards control, chapter 25 confined space entry, chapter 26 road safety and vehicle operations, and chapter 27 is reward system, chapter 28 is compressed gas cylinder, chapter 29 is heat stress, chapter 30 is safe practices, chapter 31 is disciplinary enforcement, chapter 32 is safe work, we are talking now, and then chapter 30 inspection audits, and chapter 34 will be plants facility project, then 35 will be construction safety sketches and organization chart. This is general that we have taken up and shall do. We have taken up and shall do that one, and also we have to see our own what can we do in this case. Also talk of certifications is very important because it relates to everything. Without this nothing works. That point we have to keep in mind, because we are talking of quality in safety and quality in quality, and everything is different kind of talk every time we do. It's good that at least if something happened and we got, we can say today success of this 3-hour talk. I am trying to close it at 3 hours because of today's Janmashtami. People are busy somewhere else also. I don't want to waste their time. So I'll close. I could continue further also up to 4 hours, but no problem. Next time we'll look into this. Hope this speed of recording, speed of video by Airtel, I think they have done something, and also I think Facebook have taken care of, probably. It looks as it is. So I'm going to close this now. because, and then we'll see what to do tomorrow. Probably we'll continue we'll continue our we'll continue this, that is safe work, safe practices will review, safe work we will continue. We have talked up to this point, that is man riding baskets, and we will continue from safety harnesses. So we have taken here, you can say, again I am telling you what subjects are there in this. Terms used are then terms used: introduction, personal protective equipment, safety orientation, course and side access, HSC officer, supervisors, officers language, permit to work, risk assessments, method statements, discussions, working at heights, man riding baskets, safety harnesses, scaffoldings, ladders, fire protection, hard work, welding, use of gas and oxygen equipment, compressed air, LC wheels, cartridges, operated fixing tools and equipment, mechanical plant and equipment, machinery, guarding, noise, mobile cranes, lifting equipment, reporting of accidents, incidents, work in confined space, electricity, excavation openings, control of substance hazardous to health, radiography, housekeeping and removal of materials, employer owner plant, equipment and manners, resources, transport, access, first aid, welfare, general restrictions, site notices, environmental registers, and then we go to detailed work there. And with this I can say I'll be thankful to you for this. Dear friends, I like to close it now. It's better if we continue like this, because it's engineering, it's safety, it's valid for everybody, and it must be respected accordingly. And if we don't do so, we don't do justice with ourselves, we don't do justice with our work, and that's very important one. And I think that we should be happy with this. So I hope that you got my point of view in this case, and I thank you very much again.